Hello, everybody. My name is Ratnos, and welcome to Boss 2 here of PTR Heroic Testing for Mirdrasil, the new raid coming in 10.2. This is Igira the Cruel, second boss of the raid, right in front of the first boss in terms of where its boss room is right afterwards. Notably drops a piece of tier as well, according to the Dungeon Journal, which is interesting given the placement in the raid. Fairly simple fight, with you kind of have to pick between three different torments in the middle of the fight. These spears, we just stack them up and use a defensive. They do a bunch of extra damage if you stack them up like this, but then you can kill them. As long as you don't kill them, the person is tethered to the location, and so it's very annoying, and it's also damaging ground, so we stack those up so that we can cleave them down quickly. These twisting blades are just classic, tornado dodge. You can easily dodge them by being under boss as well. March for Torment is the big thing about this fight. So this is an intermission phase, and there are three different torments that are available. Here's one of them that you can see here, this circle. And to choose the torment, you have to shrink the circle all the way down. And you can see we haven't done that yet. We're dodging these swirlies, coming back in, and once the circle gets all the way shrunk down, there you can see the weapon is gone, and the boss now has gained that torment. That is required. If you don't choose one torment, it wipes the raid. On Mythic, that's going to be 2. And each torment gives the boss a different ability. So we chose a torment here where now it's going to leap twice, and it's going to do that twice total. So 2 leaps times 2. Here comes the first one after this twisting blade, I think. And the way it works is it'll choose the second farthest person we found. So we have somebody really far back, a couple people medium back, and it chooses one of those people, leaps to them, and now it's going to choose again a second farthest person, which will be one of the tanks, and leap right back into melee, and then you just dodge these fire circle things, or your tank, and you just tank it. And that was the easiest one for us to deal with, was that torment. This boss also has a tank mechanic. It actually has 2. It stacks a dot on the active threat target, and also deals damage to the next closest person every auto attack as well, but doesn't stack the dot. So you have to tank swap, and you also have to do the... you also have to stand on top of each other like Sludge Fist. But here you go again. You can see leaps to the farthest person, or second farthest person, leaps back again. And that's all there is to the that torment we chose, the torment in the middle of the room, which we do think is probably the easiest one. Then after this, it's going to do another one of the marked for torment phases. Now, when you soak one of the torments, you get a debuff for the rest of the fight that makes you take double damage from doing it in future. Because when you stand in one of those circles, you take damage as well while you're shrinking it. So in theory, you'd want to have like 3 different groups and do group 1, group 2, group 3 for activating each of the torments, which we didn't do. We did a little bit of that. Like you can see there's some people who don't have a debuff, but we also had some people just go twice with the defensive. You can also use an immunity when the circle is really small at the end to soak it. So I think it's about to happen in the very near future here, the next marked for torment phase. And we chose now, so now the middle torment's gone, right? We've already cleared it. So we have to choose one of the other ones. And basically there's the other one that we didn't choose and won't be shown in this poll is really nasty. I'll tell you about it and see if I can show some footage after this. But again, you can see we just go and stack up and soak one there. And our paladin used bubble to finish soaking the very smallest part after we all had to run away. This one was an interesting one, though. So this one, twice now in this phase, the boss is going to put a healing absorb on everybody. And it's a pretty big healing absorb. If it doesn't get healed through, it explodes for a huge amount of raid damage. And it doesn't hit the tanks. When it does get healed through, the person shoots out a bunch of projectiles from themselves. So you'd think, oh, we should spread and do this. However, the projectiles do have a grace period. And so what we did instead was we pixel stacked, and you can see we've done that here. And the grace period is actually so generous that even though those people are getting healed and the healing absorb is going off on them there, those projectiles aren't hitting me and the other tank, even though we're fairly close here. So they probably need to add something to prevent this being a strategy that will work for that mechanic. Anytime you can just pixel stack something like that, that's usually not the way they like those sorts of things being solved. But then the boss died. We tested a bunch of the other stuff in some of the other pools, so let me see if I can go find some of that for you. Okay, so here is the third torment that you can activate. This is the one over on the left side of the room, and this one is very, very nasty, we found, so ideally something that you're going to want to not do, or it's really harsh. Basically what it does is the boss is going to choose the tank, the active tank, and put a big soak on them. That soak deals 5 million damage split among all people hit, and stuns all of them for 10 seconds. Now, the stun is a magic dispellable effect, so a Mistweaver actually makes it pretty easy because the Mistweaver can revival it, but it does cast it twice total. So with our comp here, we could do like Mistweaver on one and then 3 Master Spells on the other would be a good way to do this, but you can see here this Racking Torment comes in, and yeah, all of us are getting stunned. The problem is, if you don't get stunned, if you just go outside the raid, and you don't get hit, then instead you get this bleed. So if you try and just immune it or only soak it with a few people with big defensives, then the whole raid is going to get a big ol' bleed instead. And again, this happens twice in this phase at least. So very, very nasty mechanic, and I think the torment that you're going to want to choose the least often, and usually you'll want to, if you can, activate the other 2 instead. We'll see though, again, PTR testing, very likely that these sorts of things will change before the fight goes live. Hope you've enjoyed this video though. That is all the mechanics here on Igira the Cruel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.